There we go. All right, we'll do a little standing warm up as normal, just flowing between a few that you know. Once you're nicely standing and well grounded, really tall, we'll start with some toy soldier arms. So just open your shoulders before you start. Make sure your shoulders are settled down, long through your low back, and out breath an arm up. And in breath it down. Alternating arms, focusing on shoulder movement, just trying to isolate it. Keeping that connection between ribs and pelvis at the front as the arms lift. Good, we'll start bringing in the opposite knee to lift, just to come up onto your toes. Doing the hip and knee movement without the pelvis tipping from side to side. Starting to get a bit of coordination. Good, last one here. And then we'll take it on to tiptoes and start lowering one heel. So a walking motion from tiptoes, the whole body going up and down as the hip and knee bend. And you can bring the arms in again, just to shoulder height this time. A bit more natural walking motion. We'll take it a little bit quicker if you can. Let's try and get warmed up. Lovely. And slowing again. Finishing on your tiptoes when you're ready to slow lower. Good. We'll take it a little bit wider for some wider mermaid stretches. So try and keep a little space underneath the arches of the feet. The knees are soft and turned out because the hips are nice and open. Just in breath your arm up your side. Out breath, little bend in the knees and a side bend to stretch. Breathe in while you're stretching. And then out breath back up. Good, other side. This is the out breath coming into the stretch. So you can breathe in, looking underneath your arm. Breathe out to come back up. Couple more. That weight stays equal between both feet. For this one, but now we're going to change it. Take it to your side plie and stretch. So with your shoulders lifted, arms out to the side, shoulders down, take it into that little plie squat. You have a breath here, lengthening your spine, engaging your center, and then in your out breath, push across. So now you do transfer the weight. This arm can rest while you breathe in. And then come back. And up. Good, same thing but to the other side. Pausing here, breathing in, lovely position. Out breath across. Look underneath, breathe in. Back. And up. We'll do one more. The same to each side. Last one. Good. Okay, so coming into something a bit more challenging, we'll try some scooters in standing here. So I've gone sideways just so you can see, but however you use your space best. Feet are hip width apart again now. Coming down into that low squat with a slight forward fold at the hips. Support with your low tummy engaged here. You can start with your hands just on your hips, open the fronts of your shoulders, send them down your back. And then we're going to transfer all the weight onto one foot. So you can free the other foot up to slide back. And then in. Okay, everything's staying nice and still apart from that foot that slides. And if it won't slide, or if you're ready to, step instead. Step it back and in. Try and remember, out, breath out, in, breath back. Using the hip, using that glute. And if you want to add arms, here and in. Out, breath up, in, breath down. Of course, you can add weights to the arms as well if you want to use a light weight, up to 1 kilo. I'm going to work all on one side to start with. Last couple. And then come up. Give both legs a rest. Both legs have been working. So we're going to take it to the other side. Next, starting just coming into position, that little squat, supported, lovely and open. Transfer your weight onto the other foot, and you can start stepping or sliding it back. Think about the back of the body working. If you're lifting your arms, it's the back of the shoulders. Pairing up with that hip, with that glute on the leg that's sliding or stepping back. Try and keep the back of your neck long. Imagine that peach held under your chin. So you're looking at the mat in front. Keep going for a couple more. Strong standing leg. Last one. And then come up. Good. All right. We are going to come back into that squat, so the thighs are going to keep working. So we're going to do some hundreds arms. So when you're giving the legs a little rest, see if you can come back into that deep squat. So lowering down, fold forward at the hips, support your low back with that center engaged. Focus now on the shoulders. So open their fronts, the arms are alongside, shoulder blades sliding into your pockets, and we're going to focus on just pressing back those arms up and back. And if you're in a nice deep squat, the arms are going up towards the ceiling. You're lifting against gravity. If you've still got weights in your hands, this is going to get really challenging. You can put them down if you need to. Well done. Keep pressing. If you want more of a balance challenge, try transferring some weight onto one foot. The other foot can just stay really light or even lift. Stay low, stay deep in the standing leg, or both legs if you've got them both down. Keep pressing, pressing, pressing. Remember to have a go on the other side if you're trying that balance. Pressing and pressing back. Don't let the shoulders creep up towards the ears. Keep going. Think about the backs of the arms and the backs of the shoulders working, lifting towards the ceiling. Back of the neck stays long. Last few. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Push back up. Lovely. Now, last one in standing, we're going to do some chest stretch. So just grow tall again through the crown of the head. Bring the arms up to shoulder height. And we'll out breath them open and wide. In breath back down. Okay, so as you open and widen the arms, the center of the chest is going up to the ceiling. And then down. Last couple. And then we're going to come down to the mat. All right, roll those shoulders back and come down to your mat with any equipment that you might need. Your head support. Maybe some small weights if you want to add them. And we're going to start with scissors, so we'll be on our backs. Taking a little moment to find a really good position. You know it now. So just scan down through the body or up through the body, checking in with head and neck position, shoulder position, settled ribs, neutral spine, and those feet hip width. Good. So just lighten your arms as they rest alongside you. And we'll start by just lifting one leg at a time. Out breath up. In breath down. So focusing on your pelvic floor, try and make that your consciously engaged group of muscles. Everything else will follow when you start moving. Out breath up. In breath down. Good. You can always hover the arms if you're wanting to make this one a little bit more challenging before we move on to level 2. But then when you are ready, join that first leg with the other so we can work from here. Check you're still in neutral, you didn't tip back, and then work on opening the hip. In breath up. All right, the knees directly over the hip. Then you open the angle of it to put the toes down and then come back. Don't let the back be pulled away from the mat while you're doing that. Keep going if you can. One more. And then we'll take the legs back down one at a time. Just check in with position. These hip bones at the front staying nice and level. We're going to do some hip twist. Just out breathing a knee out to the side. In breathing back. So imagine a tea tray across your pelvic bones, not letting anything slide from side to side, but allowing as much hip movement, as much rotation in that hip joint as you can. Low tummy staying lovely and flat, drawn back towards your spine by your pelvic floor being engaged. Arms stay light on the mat, try not to press through them, try and keep the tension away from your upper body, stay soft. Lovely, you can keep working there if you'd like to bring it up, either with one leg working from tabletop, you can do some repetitions, or both alternating. So of course, if you take that one leg option, you're going to need to bring it down and do some to the other side after a few repetitions. The principles are the same though, you're still trying to keep your pelvis lovely and level, but allow free movement of the hip. Maybe just a little bit less movement there if you progressed up to this level. Only work within the range that you can control. Good, let's go for just a couple more. Whichever version you're doing, make sure you've evened up. Same to both sides. And then we'll take the feet back down to the mat. Good. So we'll do some double leg stretch to get the fronts of the hips nice and open. And if you want to use your weights, you can, for your hands. Just float them up until they're pointing towards the ceiling. Here, take your breath in and slowly lower overhead. Just arms to start with so that you can focus in on that rib cage connection for a couple of reps. And then start joining in, sliding the foot away. Our first opportunity to really open the fronts of the hips. Work into any tightness in the hip flexors. Good. Keep going. Last couple. One to each side. And then rest your arms down alongside. Okay, before we come on to shoulder bridge, just give your knees a hug in. Give your back a lovely stretch. Don't force it, but just what feels comfortable, what feels good. And then when we do take the feet back to the mat, just take them so they're a little bit closer to your bottom than they were. You can slide your head support away if you can manage without. Still back of the neck nice and long, still resting on your shoulder blades. Arms light beside you, palms up if that helps. We'll start with a breath in, and then out to tip back and peel up. We're working the spine up and away from the mat level by level, starting to squeeze into the glutes. Use an out breath to come back down. So you come all the way back to neutral. So you've got that space behind your back. On your next out breath, you tip back into that space. Peel up and away from the mat, level by level. Breath in at the top with the glutes engaged, with the pelvis level. And then come back down. All right, keep working there if you want to, or we can start adding to it. I'll give you some options. Options to do your hip dips. So if you want to work on selectively switching on and off those glutes to get your right and left sides working independently, get your pelvis dipping side to side, you can do that. Imagine sand in your pockets and you're just tipping some out and then picking back up. Okay, otherwise, if you want to work from here towards your one leg bridge, peeling the heel off of one foot and then straightening at the knee. Good. You can come down between sides or work alternate for a few reps. Try and keep the arms light, upper body soft. You're resting on your shoulder blades, not overextending your back, but trying to keep this pelvis level. Work into the glutes, pressure on your heels, so you don't get those hamstrings overworking and cramping. All right, whatever you're doing, last couple. And then we'll use an out breath to replace the spine. Okay, on to your sides. We'll start with clam. I'll start you off on your level 2 and give you a quick reminder of those alternative levels to work at. So lift your ankles up for level 2, but check you're still long through both sides of your waist. Center engaged, and when you're ready to start, out breath the knee up. In breath down. All right, trying to keep this hand away or keep it light. It's not involved. Upper body is soft and relaxed. Your center here is what's keeping you on your side, making sure you don't roll. And the glutes are doing the lift. For your level 3s, straighten your legs out. Have this support here in front for your knee to rest on, so that you can work here. Same action through the hip, but less support from the mat. Making it a lot more challenging, especially as you lower that knee back down. But of course, if you're working at level 2, but it's feeling too much, Just rest your ankles back down and work here. For our last few, whichever ones you're doing, try and do something for these last couple. Good, and now rest. Okay, we're going to take the leg out straight, just the top leg for now, for our side kicks. So the top leg is out straight and it's at hip height. Now your lower leg can stay bent, or you can start straightening it to challenge yourself more. So put it where you need it to be. Restack your hips, check you're long through your waist, and then we'll start on an out breath. Sliding that leg forward, sliding back. Using as much movement as you can in the hip joint itself, opening it, stretching it, and then hinging it forward. Using your glutes as you open up, get that activation at the back without overarching your back. Keep going for just a couple more. Last one. Good, and rest that leg. You can bend them both and give that top one a stretch. We're not quite done with it. So give it a rest. And now we're going to take both legs out straight. Okay, so everything's in a line. Shoulders, hips and heels. You can just see your toes. Make sure you haven't rolled back. Get that top hip forward nicely. And we'll do some lift and lowers. Just straight forward, pointing toes, lifting the leg. And then in-breath it back down. Out-breath up. In-breath down. Checking not to tip over into your little waist space. Keep that intact. For a couple more. Good. Finishing with this next one. And then rest. Okay. So let's just bend the knees to push up into sitting. Right, so sit on your cushion if you want to, and your legs can be in any position that's comfortable. So if you're better kneeling, you can do that instead. I'm just going to do some spine twists to work into a little range of movement in the upper back. So try and make sure you're sitting equally through both sitting bones. Grow tall and bring your arms across your chest. Engage your center, just keep that tummy held back. And as you breathe out, twist through the upper back. Think about the center of your chest, leading your way around and then coming back to the middle. So your nose stays over that center of your chest. So your head only goes as far as your chest can do. Breathe in when you're in the stretch. Keep the shoulders relaxed back and down. Good. Keep moving on the out breath and think about spiraling up. Think about the crown of the head continuing to grow taller towards the ceiling as you twist. Breathing in just deepens that stretch a bit. Good, we'll just do one more to each side. As you twist, just slightly push forward through that hip you're twisting towards. And then back. Lovely. So we want to come onto our other sides, starting with clam, so position yourself for the clam level that you want to do. All right, gentle tuck on the chin, keep the back of the neck long, keep those shoulders nice and open. Level 2, we're lifting the ankles up, lead them down for level 1. Long through the waist, engage through your center, and out breath the knee up. Up and open. Keeping that top hip forward so the legs really coming up and back. Working from here. Gently pressing the heels together. At the top of that movement, when you're squeezing the last bit out, without rolling back. I'm going to remind you of the level 3, just for those who want to. You can see it's the same motion through the hip here. Put the hand down lightly. If you take a progression and you need to give yourself that little extra support, you can always work towards taking it back away again. Last couple, whichever you're doing. And then rest. Super, so we're swapping. So now the lower leg is the bent leg. Restack the pelvis, just reposition if you need to. Top leg up to hip height. And work on sliding forward. Our side kick. Sliding back. Out breath forward. In breath back. Leading with the toes, drawing that line forward. And then the heel leading back to try and really get that activation from the glutes. When you open this hip up. Careful to keep the low back long at that point. You don't sway back into it. Keep going, a few more. 3, 2, last one. And then rest down. Good, like before, give it a rest, give it a stretch. You can hug that leg in and across. Because we're still going to do some lift and lowers on this side. All right, both legs out straight now. Last hip strength exercise for this side. Position yourself, make sure you're forward through that hip. Just looking down, you can see your toes. And then start on an out breath to lift. And lower. This hip might be a bit tired. Try and keep all the movement coming from the joint itself though. Don't be tempted to hitch from your hip or tip over the pelvis. Just come as high as you can control movement. After this one, 2 more. Good. And rest. Lovely. All done on that side. So we're going to bring it over onto our tummies and do some breaststroke prep. So a little bit of work for the arms and upper body with weights if you want to use them. We'll take them alongside next to the hips. with your forehead resting on a head support like that, maintaining length in the whole spine, crown of the head to tailbone. Start with the shoulders just dropped forward, relaxed, while you take your breath in and engage your center. And then out breath them open and hovering, sliding your shoulder blades down your back. And then lower. So the out breath, open them, hover them, slide them, breathe in, really use those lower ribs, opening them out to the sides, and then lower. Adding, if you want to, your forehead hover, as long as you can isolate the movement to your upper back. Don't add the forehead hover off the block if that feels too strong. If you end up feeling it in your low back, just leave the head down and focus on the upper body, those shoulders strengthening. Try and keep the glutes soft, your bottom's not clenching, the legs aren't lifting up off the mat. Couple more. And rest. Okay, so you can take your hands now to rest your forehead on, because what we'll do on our backs here is some one leg kicks. So try and rest comfortably, just slide your shoulders away from your ears, make sure the back of the neck's still long. We're focusing on lower body now. Working on the out breath to bend one knee, bring the foot towards your bottom for a pulse of 3, and then lower it down. Lift at the end of the movement. Change sides, other side, 1, 2, 3, little pulses, lower, lift from the hip at the end. So we're working hamstring, control, and then glutes at the end to try and lift the straight leg to hover. Out breath. In breath as you open the knee and lift the leg at the end. Good. Last one here. And then rest. And when you're done, just have a push up. Not quite finished, nearly there. We'll do some swimming, but in full point kneel. Okay, so from here, with your hands under your shoulders and knees under hips, just lengthen those so that your spine is in neutral. You're not dipped and you're not rounded. Your shoulders are away from your ears and you're looking down between those hands. We're going to start with arms, do a couple of reps with the arms, then the legs, and then combine everything together. So with your center engaged, out breath, one arm forward, in breath back down. And we'll just alternate. Okay, and then take it to the legs, give them a go. I'm not giving myself enough space. Push back and in. Out breath away. And in. Aim to keep that pelvis level so you don't tip from side to side and you don't dip into your low back. Okay, and then when you're ready, both arm and leg reaching away from each other. Try and maintain that stillness through the centre of the body, movement, opening the big joints of the shoulders and hips. Do a couple nice and slowly, giving you more of a chance to balance. So out breath away, and just pause there, breathing in and then lowering. Pause, enjoy the balance, and then come back. One more to each side. And then rest. Good. Have a sit back. Widen your knees if you want to, or keep them together. Have a stretch forward. Lower the centre of your chest down to the mat, reaching your fingertips away, trying to keep your bottom on your heels, and then rest your head. And enjoy a couple of breaths. Have a push back. And in sitting, we'll just give our hamstrings and glutes a stretch. Hamstrings because we always need to, and glutes because we've given them quite a lot of work today. Sit on your cushion if you need to. But take one leg out in front, keep the knee pointing up towards the ceiling, ankle relaxed. And try folding forward over that leg. Just hinge at the hip. Keep your chest moving forward. Good. And then take the one that's bent and bring that one across. So we can give this glute a stretch. Give it a hug with the opposite arm. And then release it so you can take it back out straight again. We'll bring this one in. Get your weight down through your pelvis, nice and level, before you try folding forward over this leg. Try and keep the ankle relaxed. The knee is just soft, but not bent, so that it's back to the mat or floor behind, with the knee pointing straight up. So you feel the stretch in the back of the thigh. Okay, coming back up, last one, bring this bent one across. Wrap around and hug across. Lovely. Just let it release. And there you are, all done.